Are we in our echo chamber just talking to each other and all agreeing?
I think so. I mean, how can we not be, right? This is an identity podcast. We're talking about identity things. We're not a mass market podcast where, we're the first thing, unfortunately, that people don't turn on, when they're in commute for, millions of people out there. We got a lot of listeners, and viewers, but they're in the identity space or cybersecurity, right? Adjacent, right? Things like that. So there is a lot of education and training, I think, to be done still for the public. And I have a real good friend of mine, Jay, where we're talking, the other night about MFA, and he's like, what's that? I was like, oh yeah, this is other thing, right? Now, we take MFA for granted, and there is not a lot of awareness at the general public level who are not in the space. So right. How do we educate those folks? How do we, bring them into the fold? How do we design solutions that are secure by design for them and usable? And they don't even have to think about security. Should they be thinking about security? Maybe, maybe not. Is that our job as identity people to do that? Yes, it is. So how do we smooth that over?
Bad answer, Jeff. You make that a clip.
I'm not gonna answer like that one. Okay. Why don't we go ahead and wrap up this episode with a lighter note from Sophie from New Zealand. I think this is a cool question. So, if IAM was a superhero, what would its superpower be? So this concept of identity and access management has somehow taken life and is now a superhero, or a supervillain, let's call it. Either way, what would the superpower be for that superhero or supervillain?
So we know there are IAM superheroes. We've run into them all the time, right? A lot of identity programs would just completely fall apart if it weren't for the superheroes. A lot of times it's because companies have underinvested. So people have to kind of become superheroes and work crazy hours and things like that. So I'm going to talk about those people and what would be the special skill that would be able to take things over the top for them. And it would be if they didn't have to sleep. So the IAM superhero superpower would be sleepless woman or sleepless man, and they could stay up 24 hours a day working on IAM.
Wow, that sounds like a really crappy superpower.
I'm not saying I would want it.